Okay, we're not going to overact because this was just a friendly. However, there are things that we saw on this game that we need to talk about. It's not damning. It's not to say, oh, Chiefs is doomed. They just lost a friendly. But we need to analyze the match because that's why the word analyze was invented, right? Huh? Huh? No. Hello and welcome to Khosi Nation Fan TV. I'm Bilo, I'm your host, and this is where fans meet and talk about Kaizer Chiefs. Khosi Football Club. I'm holding the mic like this because I realized that the sound wasn't good because the mic is here and the room is not that great in terms of audio quality. Anyways, let's talk about how this whole situation started. By the way, I saw some people were commenting, they were expecting me to do a uh pre-match basically analysis of the game and preview whatever. I didn't do it because last time I tried to do a live, since I'm back here, the Wi-Fi is not great, and lap I'm paying close to 700 on Wi-Fi, so Telcom is not doing me right. So I'm still trying to fix that situation. Anyways, we're here now. We're doing a match reaction. The first thing that I saw was starting 11, right? So for those of you who somehow didn't see this, Kune was the goalkeeper. Right back was Ukwinika, Ditlokwe, and Msimang were playing as a centre back pairing. Dovet left back, Castillo, Matt, and Mdantsane in midfield. Otsane, Modi, and Saile were up front. First of all, I looked at that starting 11. I realized, oh, okay, all the new players are there and they're given a chance to start a match, which is great. But what I also noticed is that because of the new players and everyone who was there, it was going to be tricky, Vele, to find a fluid kind of a team because they're still learning each other. Yes, they have been through preseason and you think they know each other by now, but still there are 6 new players, and you know, Guti, that's a lot. That's a lot of things. That's a lot of changes in a football match to just have 6 new players in a team and expect everything to go smoothly. I will say, however, Uguti, it still looked ish toothless. Yeah, but it looked like there was nothing, no cohesion whatsoever. We gave the ball away way too easily. There were some mistakes, and hopefully all those things will be fixed because we still have a friendly or two, if I'm not mistaken. There's one in Botswana. You can also remind me in my comments if there's another a friendly that we are going to play. But basically, today it didn't look good. Maybe kukhona nama factors ukuthi ne ground was not great because players kept on sleeping. But we will talk about the game because I don't think that's just where it ends. With the starting lineup, another thing that I realized is the fact that at right back there is Quinnick. I didn't like that. No, this is not my issue with Quinnick as a player, but my issue is playing Abadlali in positions where they are not natural. Yes, people will say, but HFC where Patukunika has played as a right back before. Patukunika is not a modern right back. You can be a right back, but there are different kinds of right backs. Konama modern full backs, people who are quick going forward, who are going to be good as well going back. Ufrosla can do that. He's not as quick as Solomon's, but as a modern full back, he's technically gifted. Ukwinika is not that. And I'm not saying Chiefs lost because of Ukwinika. No, don't hear me wrong. I'm saying the position doesn't suit him to play in the system that Kaizer Chiefs is playing in or that they want to play. And we'll talk about the system in a moment. But I will say, good, I didn't get why Ukwinika was played ahead of both our fullbacks who were there and were available, because at the end of the day, they ended up playing in any case. Because Ukwinika could have sat on the bench and come on second half to replace Umsimango, and then Ungobo would have replaced Utitlok, which seems like Vele, it's something that they did because they did give everyone a chance. So Ukwinika could have still played as a centre back. Try people in their natural positions, because this thing of playing Abadlal out of position ends up leading to people complaining. Why are players not being played in their positions? Because now you have 2 very capable fullbacks sitting on the bench, but you are playing a centre back as a right back. So I didn't like that. But once again, I'm not going to make it a big deal because maybe they are trying something new. It's a first game, but still, come on. even so. I will also say number two, Guti, but I'm saying number two. It's fine. I wrote some notes here. I am always one person who's always talking about Jessica and how well she does her job. But I don't think this from a marketing perspective and making money perspective is a good idea, Guti. To go to a friendly and still be playing with your training kids. I will just say this because that didn't sit well with me. Yanga even changed their kits halfway through the match. Like at halftime, they came back with a different kit. If you notice that, but in Dlalang a training kit because it's selling to 3 days so that it's spectacular. I do get why they're doing that, right? Kind of, because they are releasing the kit in 3 days, which is the 25th, and that's when people get paid. That's kind of, or that seems like a plan. But still, man, sizezidlali friendly. Askagabi ne-chess. I get where they are coming from, but nje on a side note, I did not enjoy it. Also, another point to that point, ukuthi I don't think people are, it's going to be bad or there's going to be tension between them, because yes, I know Guti they can fake it for the cameras, but we have abantu abazwanayo genuinely ukuthi okay, these people have a relationship, right, because they've worked together as well. Bafana before, so I saw Guti they were talking before the game, they were talking during the game. Although Shepard is the one that I didn't see Guti, maybe it seemed like was more of an isolated figure, but they have roles within the team. Maybe because in some teams you see Guti, one coach talks to the players and passes the game plan that they have amongst each other. So I'm not gonna make a big deal of that, but I will say Guti, I was glad to see Guti. It seems like Zwane are getting along. I know it was just a 90 minutes match that we saw today, but it's one of those things. And I will say Uguti, one of the other things again. Now let's get into the system. Oh, let's talk about one more individual. Castillo as a midfielder, I saw Guti. No, he will be good for us. He did make some mistakes, but most mistakes that he made in the second half, or a few mistakes, because it's not like 20. I just saw that Guti fatigue was creeping in, and mistake you can see good this player is tired now and he needs to be taken out. That was the fatigue that I saw. But first half, he was playing like it's a cup final, and even when he did make a mistake, I think there were 2 mistakes that he did make. He lost the ball, he recovered the ball, he was just there. He's quick, he is very physical, which I think will work very well for us as the Kaizer Chiefs in that midfield. Let's speak about the system. So the system, your Chiefs hasn't changed. They are playing a 4-2-3-1, and what happened is we have that back four, and Umat was playing alongside Castillo, if you saw that, and then Umtanzano was playing in front of them, Modi on the left, Potsano on the right, and then Saile centrally. Once again, the thing of playing with Saile as a striker, I've told people with Saile is not a striker, and I know there were no other options, but think about it, Tutuba wasn't even included, which makes me sad. Caleb, it's clear Uguti is gone. Oranga had an injury. But when we go back to midfield, we have E3, which kind of, when we're pressing, we press with the front three, which are the wingers and the striker, and then the guy who plays as a number 10 goes and we basically press with 4 people. And then the other number 6, which is Matt, in the second half, Ustebe was doing it. Then they wait for any mistake, like because Lababa 4, they're kind of pressuring these guys to play the ball and break the first line, which is the 4 people. And basically it's difficult because it's just 4 people coming to pressurize you, and then they kick the ball forward. If they try to play a pass through the lines, between the lines, then the number 6 puts pressure on whoever is receiving the ball, which is the same thing that we did last year, beginning of the season, with Umati doing the same thing that he's doing this season. And it kind of worked last season, and I think in this game as well, Yanga was forced to play those long balls because the press was working very well. So his system hasn't changed. System hasn't changed at all. There's no Ntsegi ball different from Zwane ball or Mangete ball. It still looked the same to me, except Tigu didn't create as many opportunities, which has to do with something that I alluded before, Guti. It's new players and it's just everywhere, and there still needs to be understanding between the players for us to do really well, which is which has to happen because in 14 days we're playing against Chippa United and Moses Mapita. So there's no time to learn each other here. We have 2 weeks to get it right or else we're screwed. And then the other thing that I saw with Usaile Gefel is that as a winger, because he's a winger but he's being played as a striker, he tends to drift wide. And this hold up play that I think Uranga will do, Guti, he will be the target man, the pivotal point, the person who they pass the ball to, the person who they would be bouncing the ball off and then starting ama moves up. It wasn't working because we drift wide, umponchane ngathi cuts in, and then you just potsane, and then you just don't see what's happening. So there's still a lot that needs to be done, which is scary to me. I will tell you this because yes, Yanga is a big team and they are better than Chippa, but Yanga is, if you play them against Sundowns would win. And we're playing Sundowns on our second game of the league. And if we're still this green, if we're still all over like this, it scares me. Please like the video, by the way, and subscribe to the channel. Anyways, Udove got injured, gets a groin injury. Because that's where I saw them working on. I think it was a groin if it didn't end up pulling a hamstring, which scared me, right? Because I thought to myself, could it be possible Gutu Dove is struggling to play as a left back, and that's why I picked up an injury, because he went down the first time and then went down the second time. It worries me because now if he's gonna have problems playing left back, because now it's clear Gutu Titloko Nomsimang will be our centre back pairing. If Udove is going to struggle in left back, that means we're still going to depend on Uhlanti to do all the work of running up and down the flank, and that's the problem because Kwayen Uhlanti, as much as he's good technically, pace and the demands of going up and down throughout the game, I think that's a bit too much for him at this point, and it worries me Uguti now Udove might have the same problem. Yoguti, he gets injuries when he's running up and down. But let's hope it was just something that was pulled, because he kept on doing those things, trying to trap the ball because the passes were misplaced. I think he did it twice. So maybe he pulled his groin muscle or something. So hopefully that's the thing. It's not too good. He ran too much. So yeah. And then we consider the goal, obviously. The game, guys, was boring. I'm not going to lie. Shush, it was so flat. The game was so flat. Game was so flat. And I think what happened, there were a lot of things. The first one, I saw Shanti jogging behind the guy who had the ball. The second one was Uguti, which wasn't putting enough pressure on the player, because if he had put enough pressure from the get-go, then the player would have been forced to make a decision, which would have been problematic already, because Vele, on his side, Uhlande, the person who ended up scoring the goal, Umsonda, inverted from the left inside, and Uhlande Vele wasn't tracking him. It's not his fault, because now he was caught out of position, and the guys who were left at the back now, but they couldn't organize themselves, which goes back to, once again, they don't know each other. But Kweneka also played them on. It was just all over. I won't blame Ukune for coming out, because now was trying to make the angle smaller, but it was just a lot of things went wrong. I would probably need to watch that clip again to see what actually went wrong, because Kukona Nogutu Kweneka played them on. Kukona Nogu, they didn't communicate well, because Uhlant was chasing and Utitlok was coming closer to the person with the ball. But it's that goal, and then that was it basically with the game. Halftime, obviously, we come back, no changes. Oh, there was one change actually at halftime. Only who's this? Ukune was out, and then Peterson was in. And then 10 minutes later, which is good to make changes early, Matt Msimang was out, Ngobo in, Matt was out, Stebe on, Saile was out, Ngobo on, Botan was out, and Dumtu was on, Kwinika was out, and Ref was on. And we started playing better. We were poor first half, but we were better second half. That doesn't mean we're good, no. We're just better. It was poor but better than the first half, because now there were more combinations. Like I saw even Ustebe, a combination Stebe, even more so when Usamgelo Zwane came on, and the combination come to no Kosingpile Umshin. I like that combination and their presence grounding. Both of them, they hold on to the ball. They don't panic and try to always kick the ball and make it go forward. Even though Sebenabo, get the ball, find someone, open yourself to the pass. It was better because they were playing and they were making 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 passes. And the first half, we didn't see none of that. So at least there is something to look at and say, look, that worked. The players did make some combination play here and there. So that was better. That was better. And by the way, I will say this because I've been on Matt's case. Matt had a better game. I think it's since playing for Kaizer Chiefs, I would say good. Amagame Pirates awu-2 wadlala kahle, Richards Bay wadlala kahle. And today was that game where I saw Guti what Umat can actually do for Kaizer Chiefs. So Guti can be that person that we saw Sekukune Uguti as a 6, because I think that's why they are trying to keep that double pivot system, because they want him to be closer to our goal so that he can help the team build up from the back and then progress the ball, like basically just bouncing the ball off people, getting the ball, carrying the ball. So that was good format. I'll mention that Patigagi went out in the first half. So in the second half, but he did have a good game. Nizongchela guys, if you want me to do player ratings, tell me in my comments, then I'll do player ratings tomorrow. If not, then I won't do them. And then Umshin was playing as a false 9, which I thought was better because he was carrying the ball and the players were coming to him, or the center backs were moving to him to mark him, and by that they were kind of forcing the fullbacks as well to push up, and in that way there was space behind. And a couple of times Umshin found passes behind it defense Yanga, because now as a false 9 he was dropping, and then since our last man, sort of the number 9, which was the false 9 in this case, was dropping, and in that way it was forcing our defenders. Kandu Saile Maimene Abu or drifting wide. They were just like, okay, let's wait for them to come to us, and there was no space behind them. So I think that was better, as I said, than the first half. Then Castillo was out, Zwane came on, we played better. Mtanzane shame. Once again, I don't want to target players and say, oh, he sucked. No, it was just bad for the entire team. So yeah. And at the end of the game, Utitloko was out again, cramping. Abeko fit, scorer with Abeko fit. He was starting the games in 2 weeks' time, which is scary. By the way, because I'm looking at this. Chiefs is playing on the 6th against the Chipa in Durban. They fly back to Gauteng, and then they'll play Sundowns on the 9th in Pretoria, and then they'll fly to Cape Town to play Cape Town City. The Chipa United game might be easy, but remember, it would be the first game, which means that fatigue will still be there, or that lack of fitness will be there. And then we play Sundowns 3 days later, who are very high intensity under Urulani, and then we go play Cape Town City, who just don't like playing against, who just love playing against Chiefs actually because they win. So it's scary to me to see players not being fit at this point. We have 2 weeks to make that right. Score some, please, man. Do something about that. What did you guys think of the match? Let me know down in the comment section below. Also, Ningcheleman for send some player ratings. I will do so. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, remember, equals Alpelumoy.